downtown section where we live and work is in pretty much demolished.
That what has it done to Brandenburg?
Well, it's in shambles, an absolute shambles.
On April 3rd through 4th, 1974, 148 tornadoes occurred in 13 U.S. states, killing 315 and injuring more than 6,000. The 1974 super outbreak. This outbreak caused around $600 million in damage, which is around $4 billion today. In the midst of this tragedy, many turning points in history occurred, such as scientific discoveries and important legislation which have saved many lives. Before and during the super outbreak, the WSR-57 was used for detecting tornadoes. This was developed in 1957 using World War II technology. Former Storm Prediction Center Director Alan Pearson said this about radar in the 70s. In detecting tornadoes, the radar doesn't actually see the tornado itself. All the radar sends back is information on the cloud that surrounds it, and we have to try to infer the tornado from the general pattern. As a result, meteorologists struggled to detect tornadoes. Also, meteorologists would have to take the radar scans and map out where the tornado would go by hand. Additionally, the incredibly slow teletype systems used for dissemination of warnings further slowed the warning process and contributed to the negative 10 to 15 minute lead warning time, which meant a tornado would pass over. Then it would take 10 to 15 minutes for a warning of that tornado to be issued. This inadequate technology caused a lack of knowledge surrounding tornadoes. Meteorologists struggled to understand the phenomenon as tornado formation and behaviors puzzled meteorologists. However, one man sought to unravel these tornado mysteries, but his theories lacked sufficient proof as tornadoes came and went without providing the clear-cut evidence he needed. Until he attained that evidence, lack of knowledge spread on many myths about tornadoes. One of these was opening windows in homes before a tornado. The belief was that opening windows would equalize the pressure difference of the inside and outside to minimize damage. However, this only made it easier for tornado missiles and damaging winds to be hurled in at great speeds. In addition to this, many people didn't know where to go in the event of a tornado, and in schools, there weren't designated shelters and tornado drills weren't being conducted. On top of all of this, the relief from disasters in America was unorganized. In the 70s, disaster relief wasn't as coordinated and proactive as it is today and needed to be. The forecast before the outbreak used light language, describing scattered severe thunderstorms expected today and tonight, reflecting the limited understanding of the impending disaster. On April 3rd through 4th, 1974, the super outbreak unleashed 148 tornadoes across 13 U.S. states, leaving a devastating mark on American history. 7 F5 tornadoes, including Xenia, Ohio, and Brandenburg, Kentucky, caused devastating destruction. In less than 24 hours, 315 lives were lost, surpassing the entire tornado-related death toll of the previous year. This unprecedented event served as a wake-up call for the meteorological community and the nation, highlighting the need for overall safety and disaster relief. The super outbreak underscored the inadequacies in tornado preparedness and spurred a push for improved measures to save lives. After the super outbreak, Dr. Ted Fujita saw the perfect opportunity to better understand tornadoes and prove his theories, as this outbreak of tornadoes was like none other. It was perfect. A large number of tornadoes across many states, with many citizens taking photos and videos of the tornadoes, as well as damage paths that stretched for thousands of miles. Fujita and his team put together the largest research study of a weather event in history, as for 10 months they would survey in great detail every tornado path, ranking every single one of the tornadoes using his scale, the Fujita scale. This was a turning point as it was the first major test of the Fujita scale, showcasing its utility for tornado documentation and becoming invaluable to professionals. Furthermore, Fujita would also get the opportunity to prove his 1971 suction vortex theory. Using cyclonic marks left behind from some of the tornadoes and pictures taken of the tornadoes themselves, Fujita would prove it right. This discovery was a turning point as it helped us understand tornado anatomy, behavior, and damage. Furthermore, Fujita would begin and continue mesocyclone research, which is the rotation of storms which cause tornadoes. This was a turning point as this further helped our understanding of tornado formation, which has helped to save lives by aiding in the warning process of a tornado. Along with Fujita, engineers and architects came together to study some of the buildings that were damaged as well. Engineers saw a field of complete destruction in Xenia, Ohio. However, there was one room standing. This and many damaged buildings showed engineers one major thing. The interior areas of buildings offer the most protection. As a result, moving to interior rooms during a tornado is a common practice today. Furthermore, in the aftermath of the tornadoes, engineers were able to see that opening windows did not help decrease damage, but rather aided in the damaging process, resulting in a turning point which has saved buildings from further damage in tornadoes and put people who followed this myth in less danger. Furthermore, many damaged schools such as the Xenia High School were studied. From these studies, safe rooms in schools were seen. It was stated numerous times that hallways and other interior areas were the safe areas. This information has transcended school safety during tornadoes. Xenia High School's destruction would also help to uncover the lack of school and public safety during tornadoes. The super outbreak was a turning point in school safety, as the National Weather Service team noted that many schools didn't have tornado drills and tornado action plans. They recommended that better tornado preparedness should be executed even outside of a school environment. This has impacted us today, as now tornado drills are regular practices. In fact, the Xenia tornado caused mandatory statewide tornado drills in Ohio. Additionally, after the super outbreak, the public began taking tornadoes more seriously, as the sheer scale of this outbreak was felt across the nation. Another thing that would change public tornado safety was the technology that was soon to be developed and vastly spread across the entire nation. After the outbreak, meteorologists saw something needed to be done in the technology. The super outbreak was a turning point in the dissemination process of tornadoes, because the super outbreak caused push for the rapid expansion of the NOAA radio. For the rest of the century, the NOAA radio would widely expand all across the nation. This was tested in 2011 when 360 tornadoes occurred over the course of a few days. However, the lower death to tornado toll and average warning time of 22.6 minutes during this event showcases the worth of this technology. Despite technological and scientific progress, post-tornado challenges persisted. To see this change, we must rewind to February 26, 1974, when a Disaster Relief Act was introduced. However, the proposed law remained inactive as it needed momentum to push it to a vote. The pivotal push came with the super outbreak, underscoring the crucial need for substantial relief after witnessing its devastating aftermath, so the victims would attain the relief they needed, as on April 10th and 11th, both just a few days after the super outbreak, the Disaster Relief Act of 1974 passed the House and Senate with a prime example of bipartisan support of a bill for the greater good of the nation. A representative emphasized, "The recent tornadoes have greatly focused our attention on the great need for the massive federal assistance necessary in major disasters." On May 22, 1974, President Richard Nixon signed the Disaster Relief Act of 1974 into law. This law greatly expanded the federal role in disaster relief by extending what the government could do in disasters, which greatly aids the disaster relief process. However, this law also played a much bigger role. This bill provided the foundation for the Federal Emergency Management Agency by establishing the authority the government could have to coordinate and provide assistance in response to disasters. FEMA, which was signed in April of 1979, provides major relief to people suffering from all kinds of disasters. FEMA also takes the powers that the Disaster Relief Act of 1974 gives the President. Furthermore, the Stafford Act amended the Disaster Relief Act of 1974, which extended FEMA's role in disaster relief. The super outbreak was a turning point that spurred legislation which laid the groundwork for FEMA. However, it also led to the resolution of a long-standing mystery. In the 20th century, numerous planes mysteriously crashed, the root cause unknown and seemingly unrelated. However, an elusive killer was responsible. Eventually, it would be found guilty. The turning point came on June 24, 1975, with the crash of Flight 66, leaving only 12 survivors of 124. Invited to survey the damage, renowned meteorologist Dr. Ted Fujita, known for his in-depth study of the super outbreak, examined his damage photos from the super outbreak. When he came across some trees in a field that were all pointed in different directions, Fujita concluded that a microburst had crashed the plane, a sudden, powerful downward air current.
A 60-degree area that's all of a sudden going from almost calm conditions to 80 miles an hour in like a split second.
Despite initial skepticism, Fujita's theory was validated on May 29, 1978, marking a turning point. Pilots adapted with microburst safety measures, and radar technology in planes and towers advanced. Since 1994, no microburst-related crashes have ever occurred, saving countless lives.
You could just tell something was wrong that day. It was just a different day, a different feeling.
In the history of tornado outbreaks, the 1974 super outbreak is viewed as an atmospheric juggernaut, surpassing all previous records and redefining our understanding of severe weather events. Today's average tornado warning time of 11 to 15 minutes allows ample shelter-seeking time, significantly reducing tornado-related deaths in the U.S. In fact, the decade preceding 1974 had more tornado deaths than the 20 years after, showcasing advancements in technology and understanding. The turning points initiated by the super outbreak have forever altered our understanding and safety. All 315 people killed during the 1974 super outbreak will not be in vain, for their deaths marked a turning point in history that no one would have to suffer to the extent in which they did ever again.
Within a matter of 2 or 3 years, you're going to find Xenia back on its feet, better than ever. Going to have newer and better schools and housing and Also, good job. And that will happen mainly because of the thing you mentioned, because the morale of the people of Xenia couldn't be higher.